So Jason, were you one of the ones who did that spectacular?
Spectacular stuff? Yes.
Yes, yesterday.
What are we talking about?
Yesterday, were you out?
Yeah, I seen him on the news.
Oh, yesterday. You saw me
on the news.
You saw a picture of me? Oh.
Yeah. You were standing there in your gear.
Was it the
standing around?
The one where the guy, they had to send the guy up because it was too hot for the helicopter?
Yeah. It was not too hot. Well, it was hot, but it was too high. The helicopter life flight can only go about 10,000 feet, and it was right at 10,000. So they had to send him up by himself, and then come back for the rescuer after.
I guess the kid hurt his ankle pretty bad, huh?
Oh, it was
nasty.
He had hurt his ankle and then
he might lose his leg, lose his foot.
Yeah.
And then had to climb back up to get his.
Yeah, get his phone to call.
Get his phone.
Yep.
That's brutal.
It was kind of nasty. Yeah, just shut that so we could do our screaming.
What's up with that?
The building guy doesn't want us to have the door open when we're doing our chanting.
Well, you tell the building guy.
He says I'm too loud.
Well, who was it that was standing up here last week that was... Oh my gosh! The door, I think the door was shut. You want me to shut the door?
Yeah.
Because there's so...
Jason!
Oh, I just shut it.
You know, I'm thinking, one time I was out here, the whole group was here, and I'm banging on the door because it's all locked.
Oh, well,
The side door was even locked.
Here's the problem is, when you push it, see it locks. Because it hits that wall right there.
And because there's so many people here.
I'm here.
Alrighty.
Few in numbers, huh?
It's okay. I like it this cozy. Doctor appointment. Okay, self-confidence for it. Hey, I'm gonna not be so noisy because I want to try to save my voice, so I won't be near as energetic. That's all right. Okay, self-confidence for it. First, I know that I have the ability to occupy the purpose of life. Therefore, I admit myself as citizen stage action towards the day, and I hear now promise for any such action. Second, I realize the dominating across my mind with the things that bring themselves out as a flash, and gradually transform themselves into reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking where I can become. Thereby, free me my life to live in a picture that first. Third, I know that the principle of the stretching and the entire necessity of my mind will eventually bring me back to me to doctor back. Therefore, I will begin meditating myself out of self-confidence. Or, I have plenty of written down to my destiny in my life, and I will never contract myself relative to my comfort or stable. I fully realize no broken decision long ago, and that doesn't want to the justice. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
My voice is a little weak, and I'm so tired of it. I mean, I've had steroids, I've had cough medicines, I've had, you name it, I've had it. And allergy medicines. And I don't know what's going to take to bring my voice back. Happens to me every year about this time. My vocal cords get really weak and I lose my voice for a long time. As long as it's gone 6 months, I'm getting close to that. So that's all right. You'll weather through it. So, victories, gratitudes, wins. What do we got? Yeah.
I had one from yesterday.
Okay.
I told Jason about it, but so when you're prospecting, we get hung up on all the time, and I'm fine with that. I just laugh. But yesterday, for the first time, someone dropped an F-bomb on me, and I was pretty happy about it. It's a first for me.
Did you go, yes, thank you for that.
I was actually laughing. I mean, it was like she said, like, I'm 70 blank years old. I don't need this, and hung up, and I was like, that's pretty sweet. That's never happened to me before.
He was looking forward to the F word, huh?
Well, not really, but it's I mean, it was a new record for me.
Yeah.
I get hung up on all the time, but how many times do you get that drop?
From an older lady, huh?
Yeah.
You know, the reality is I got to the point when I was prospecting so much that I kind of hoped for the hostile because I wanted to see how quickly I could turn them. I mean, I'd use all kinds of things. I mean,
That's your challenge.
it is a challenge, and it was a real challenge for me. And I loved it. I ended up getting to the point to where, you know, it got really boring just getting and setting and qualifying, and you know, you get to the point to where you really want to challenge. So you ended up hoping for those hostiles, and they ended up actually being your best clients in the long run because they have such a high sales resistance. So it became a game for me, which made it much more challenging, much more fun. So.
Well, I told
Yeah.
Jason, if we don't get a complaint now and again, we're not calling it up.
That's right. It's true. It's really true.
As long as we're always nice.
We
Yeah.
must be calling a lot.
Yes. Rob gets those, right? Absolutely. Any other wins, victories, gratitudes?
Chris must not be feeling well. He's wearing a gray shirt today.
I know.
Yeah, what?
It's all right.
Looks good.
Thanks.
Like it. Yeah. That's awesome. So, Jason, victory, you saved another life on the hill the other day,
I
Yesterday.
did nothing.
yesterday. Well, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Jason.
Jason is a county sheriff, just so you guys know.
Because I'm standing down at the trailer and I get on the news doesn't mean
Yeah,
I was actually
he was there, had his gear on. I honor the fact that he's
I do too.
one of us and search and rescue.
You might say.
I'm fascinated with it. Yeah,
The guy that fell 80 feet, that one, a big hot one.
Yeah.
yeah. So I admire what he does. I'm proud to know him and know what he does and is part of our company. So. Yesterday, who was in for Rick Davidson's presentation? It's pretty good. You missed something. You guys.
Is it taped?
Yeah, I recorded it, so you can go back and see it. But, you know, I stopped in just off the cuff yesterday and said, hey, I'd really like you to be in base camp and introduce yourself and talk to us about why here. You know, what's your journey? I know it pretty well because I knew him from my Coldwell days and watched his journey, and it's fascinating to see the man, but to really hear his story and be here and be part of us. Commend you guys for attracting such a high level guy. Thanks for bringing such person into the company. I think it's really good for us, but having him here and talking about what his journey is and why and some of his beliefs and systems that he's using is fascinating to me. It was very, very powerful. And crazy enough, we filled the room. I mean, this room was filled, which was really good for after just a holiday. So George and Rick Davison is going to be on at 9 o'clock on Channel 4. Yep. So if you can tune in. We do have the Superstar Retreat coming up. You get into that, go do that, and then Tony Robbins. I think we still got the preferred pricing. It's a life changer. I've never tried it. I'd like to someday. I really like to do it. I hear it's a life-changing thing. So what I wanted to talk about today is we are the second day into the second half. So You know, Jan 1st, 17. December 31st, 17. This is your year. One of the greatest things I think we have is our foundation.
That's supposed to be a...
That's your year.
Bear, bound curve.
Yeah, absolutely is. This is your year. So you're, fascinating, and I kind of started thinking about this yesterday after listening to Rick Davidson's presentation. We have to be analyzing where we're at and where we're going. We need to be casting that vision. One of the great things about our company is the fact that we have a foundation that gives us a solid foundation to launch. But how do you tell what works?
I guess you have to keep track of the numbers, find out what's working.
By the results, right?
Yeah, results.
Yeah. So we have our number trackers, we have our systems in place, which is part of our foundation, an understanding of what we're doing. What are the numbers? How are we doing it? What is going on? How are things happening? Are we, that's about right? So where are we at? What are our numbers? What do they look like? Are we getting the intended result we set out for? Are we getting the impact? What are some of the things that you're doing to make that happen? That's the question. Are you prospecting? Are you door knocking? What are those activities you put into play here? Actually, here. What month is that?
Last year.
Yeah, but what month? December? Any other answers on that?
Like October, November.
October, November? I'm with Rob. Mine starts right in October. That's when I really start gearing up and looking at my first quarter so I can set up for January. Right here. That's where we need to have results set up for that. I remember setting in closing Christmas Eve. Crazy enough, the house burnt down Christmas Day. That we closed on Christmas Eve. People showed up to the house and called me Christmas Day and said, Rick, where's the house? And I said, well, you know where it's at. I give you the address. You got the address. They were from out of state, had all their stuff in a big moving van. It was way out in rural Utah. And they said, the foundation's there, the house is not. I said, excuse me? They said, there's a pile of rubble and smoke. And I said, are you kidding? Do you think we'd really be kidding Christmas Day? I says, good point. I'll be right there. I lived about 30 minutes from there. Got out there, sure enough. House was burnt. I mean, burnt. Nothing left but foundation. The owner who sold the house had a coal burning stove in the basement. I don't know if you guys have any experience with those. Super, super hot. Super, super efficient. But when they go bad, it goes real bad. And he went in and lit the fire so these people would have a nice toasty home for the holiday. And it did it. The Stuck-O-Matic has this auger in it. And it has a sensor switch down on it that senses what the fire's doing in the center. And it feeds coal in. Well, that sensor broke, stuck, kept feeding coal in. And as it kept feeding coal in, it was hot enough, have you ever seen blacksmithing and the fan blowing up through it and how hot it gets? It literally liquefied the furnace. So it burnt the entire house to the ground. And
insurance, that's a great Christmas present.
yeah, well, that's the spin you have to put on it.
There's no attachment?
No, there's no.
All of your...
And that's what they said. We still got our lives, we got our furniture. Looks like we're getting a new house. And I says, looks like it. And they did, brand new house.
So it was really a good thing in the long run. It's just, I got them into a rental that day. Took me all day to Christmas to do that, but those kind of things happened. So really, as we work through this process, are you tracking? Yes, Brett.
Don't you forget my diversion, but isn't it a lot of, I mean, yes, that's a terrible thing to happen,
Of course.
but isn't it a lot of satisfaction you was able to help get him into
Of
a
course.
house that same day?
Oh, absolutely. Mhm.
So you
I was a
find lot of
hero.
satisfaction in this.
These people said, I can't believe you're spending your time with us rather than your family.
Dedication.
I said, hey, my family understands, totally understands. So, yeah, it is. It's just what we do.
Yeah, and it's,
That's a story I have for life.
yeah.
So I got more out of it than anything. So, yeah, serving people is what I really enjoy doing. So it was nothing for me. So as we analyze our months and we grow this momentum each quarter, each month, as we start progressing, what are some of the things that you guys are seeing in your business?
You know, even though the market is really hot right now, it's one of those things where there are a lot of buyers, and this almost feels like the sellers are digging in a little bit tighter because they are afraid that they're not going to be able to find somewhere to go.
That's true. So when I say future pacing, what does that mean to you? What do you think I'm talking about?
You know, when you were talking about this, I was remembering, I guess it was the morning, one of the morning videos, they were, or podcasts, they were talking about a basketball player. When does he prepare? It's the same idea.
Absolutely.
Way before the game.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because you're right. I mean, anticipation what the market or the game is going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to future pace. You have to look at what's coming. You know, for years I've analyzed and future paced what the market was doing to try to cast a vision of what I need to be doing. The first half is, to me, is the most comfortable, because this section of the year becomes really the roller coaster. And now what's going to start happening in August that's going to change the market a little bit when you think about future pacing?
Will the interest rates change?
Although interest rates are always going to be changing.
I think what happens is people start slowing down because they don't want to move because of school or kids or something like that. And the homes don't show quite as well when it gets cold and wet and the color leaves.
See, and you're spot on, and that's where I was going, thank you. But the fact is, those are misconceptions. Okay? That's what most agents believe. Right. And I want that out of our head. Because as my biggest part of my year typically would end up over in here. Why? Because I'd future pace. I'd future pace my business. And really my future pace in my business really starts in July, because in July is really when there's a low, or if I found a low in my business. So as we start transitioning through the year, where is it that we need to start focusing for really, in my opinion, what the rest of the year is going to look like?
This is where you start scrambling for your numbers before the end of the year, so you can start tracking. I've done well in the next 6 months.
What's going to happen in October? Yes, Rob.
Right, so the key thing that you need to measure is your business is typically 90 days out. So whenever you are looking at what do you want to have in a particular month, what are your activities, the 60 and 90 days prior to that is really what you need to be doing. So if you want to have a lot of money for Christmas, what are you doing in September, October, and November to lead up to it? If you want something in August, 90 days before. And that is a general rule that is stuck forever. Right now, the market is a little quicker, so 45 days, 60 days to 45 to 60 days is probably more on top of that. But that's That is just something that you need to look at.
Spot on.
You have the right, is it possible you can list a house and go under contract with a cash buyer and close it in 10 days? Sure, yes. But more than likely, it's going to be a 45 to 90-day window that you're going to be working on.
Yep, perfect, exactly where I was going. Thank you for saying that and sharing that. Absolutely spot on. You need to be looking at 90 days out and really look at where's your business coming from. But if you know you're going to have a low October, November, and December, you better be stockpiling or trying to get business generated for that time frame. What are you doing? If you know you're going to have this dive in the market September, okay, then you better be trying to knock more doors, call more SOI. You better be amping it up to take that low out of your market because you want to create this high here. Because what happens, Brad, is that most people out here start going on what? Vacation, right? End up in vacation. What do? You amp it up to take over that overage because you have so many people that will take off during that time frame. Now, if you're putting a strategy together that allows you right here to take on that next part, watch how much better you perform. Watch what happens. SOI becomes a really, really good part of this. Calling SOI, sending stuff to your SOI, being part of your SOI. Asking them if they got your mailer. Ask them if they got your target marketing piece. There's so many things you can put into play. Your calendars and different things. You're going to be putting together right out in here. So those are all important pieces. Yes, Brad.
Well, what is it that really causes the slowdown, say? Because in September, houses should still look pretty good.
We cause the slowdown. I think we as agents do.
Oh, okay.
Because we're not as many in the marketplace actively working it. We don't have a lack of desire or need. It's a lack of agents willing to do the business. That's my opinion.
Good opinion.
So I think that if you understand that going into the second half of the year, that's going to help you really strategize what your rest of your year is going to look like. And then clear out in here, you need to be looking at 2018 business. I mean, your calendars and your different things you're going to mail out are going to be done in 2017.
Well, Rick, that even starts now. I mean,
yes.
You look around the offices and there's not near as many people.
See? Exactly. And that's why July, I think, becomes such a low for me, is that you just don't get many people interacting and doing things. People are on vacation. They're trying to get that last hurrah before August, before kids go back to school. So you got a lot of people out of the market. There's things you can't control. And it's those pieces you can't control that caused me a low in July. Do you have a comment, Jason?
Yeah, I just think that sometimes we look at these 90 days and we say, okay, today I'm going to do, or this month I'm going to really push it so that in 90 days I get production. And I think the challenge is and I see this a lot with a lot of agents, we'll push really hard for a month and then we'll push not as hard the next month, and then on the third month we kind of die out, and that's when we see deals fall apart.
Thank you.
It's a full pedal to the metal for 90 days that's going to get you the success, not 30 days of success and then expect to be paid the next month. So like July, if you want to have a powerful July, what he's saying is correct. June, you have to have a powerful May. But if you had a powerful May and then come July, you decide you're going to take the month of July off, all the work that you did in May or may not come through. Because you didn't, sometimes they need a little bit of help to get them through it, just close that time.
You really want to overstack, fill the pantry to where it's busted, because you're going to have stuff that falls out. And if you've been in this business very long, you know that happens. My worst month was 7 transactions falling apart. Happened to be out of town on vacation at the time it happened. I got back, I put 5 back together, which was a miracle. But the reality is the business you put in, a lot of it can fall out. There's just things that are out of your control. People die. I've had people die just before closing. It happens. You're in it long enough, you're going to get all these strange situations. Brad?
Okay, so I'm picking up that maybe the most important thing to do is to find a way to be consistently performing 12 months out of the year. But, okay, how do you plan to rejuvenate yourself? Because you sound like everybody wants to rejuvenate in July.
Well, I think it's a real good question, because one of my things that destroy me more than anything is working too much. And I don't take enough time off. Jason?
There's a big difference between taking time to rejuvenate and just taking it off.
Thank you.
What you're seeing in July is not agents who are rejuvenating and saying, I'm taking it off to recharge, because I have no problem with taking off time to do that. If you're scheduling your time to rejuvenate, to build, they call it recreating yourself during that time. The challenge is most agents aren't taking the time off to do that. They're just not working.
There you go.
So you'll see some come in the office, say they're working, but not do any prospecting, not do it there consistently. And that's two different things. So yes, you need to work 12 months out of the year, but what I want you to do is plan your time to rejuvenate.
So when you're actually taking, let's say I'm not going to work this weekend.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe Monday. What am I doing to rejuvenate myself so that I'm back strong, not just goofing off?
Right. Right. And the problem is if you planned your weekend, if you said, okay, I'm going to plan my weekend and I'm going to relax and I'm not going to think about real estate and I'm going to really get myself ready to go, when you come back after that type of a vacation, you'll come back powerful. If you go out and just say, okay, I'm going to work today, and then you end up not working today, it's going to beat on you. It's not going. You're not going to recover on it.
Yeah, just because you're here doesn't mean you're working.
Sorry, you were just saying, like, not just goofing off. I would say absolutely goof off. Like, do what brings you joy.
Yep.
That is what will recreate you, because it'll
There
give
you go.
you really.
It's when you're at home thinking you should be at work, and when you're at work you think you should be at home. When you're at home, be at home.
That's not helping.
It's not helping.
So you need to be able to actually say, I'm starting to need a break. I need to do this. Now, I understand this is probably going to be different, Tracy. We have a lot of energy we have to put out if we want to do this right. And sometimes your energy drains, you know, and you got to take a step back and regather your energy. I don't know, maybe a 20-minute nap or whatever.
Brad, what you have to do is, like they're saying, is take the time off and enjoy yourself. Do what you're supposed to do. Yeah, it is, of
Time and a
course.
place for everything.
There's a time and place for everything. I think that's a perfect way of putting it. You have to take the time, like Jen's saying, and actually have fun. Recreate. I love that. I think that is a perfect way of saying it. To recreate yourself. So you can come back feeling like I can take on anything and be okay with it. And that's what we should be doing. But analyze where you're at in your year. Focus on where you're going and what you want to get. Look at the results you've been getting. And if you have to make an adjustment or a shift to get it over here, do it. If you can't figure that out, get with one of us and we'll help you figure it out. We've done this long enough and got great enough results. We have the experience to make it happen. Okay, and I love being able to help people refocus and get on track to where they need to go. It's a great business to be in right now. You can set the second half of your year up to where it'll really pay you great dividends towards the end. And then towards October, November, December, let's really start focusing on the first quarter of next year, because that's where you're going to start your next year, is in the last quarter of this year. Fair enough? Okay, great. Let's close with some affirmations. Alrighty.
I succeed because I act on my goals. I'm an optimist. I like talking to good people. I know it's important to me. I remember people's names. I have a daily plan and I follow it. I'm passionate about real estate. I know consistent my greatest tool. I like asking questions, listening. I enjoy reading through my telling skills. My thoughts lead my emotions back to results. I focus on my dreams daily. My presentation is powerful.
see, I've spent a lot of my life, you know, I would go to work, and I leave everything
Now you can open
at
up.
work.
Yeah.
I got a pretty big,
But I didn't know how to
problem.
write.
Do you?
Yeah, when it comes
Say that when you.